Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the episode of the Spurs Up Show presented by the Armchair Americans. I'm your host, Chris Phillips, joined as always by my co-host, almost messed up, Thomas Floyd. Thomas, I'm already messing up.
You're good, dude.
Thomas, before we get in, everybody, he was asking me a question before the show, got me all, my brain is scrambled eggs right now. So I want to make sure I clarify for those who also don't know. For our show, be sure to go online, rate, subscribe, share, and download the Spurs Up Show on iTunes, the Stitcher app, wherever you consume your media. For those who don't know what the Stitcher app is, as Thomas was about to ask me before I came on and sent me into a complete brain blender. The Stitcher app, I did that to myself, but the Stitcher app, Thomas, is basically if you have an Android, if you're a Green Bubble user, God rest your soul. But if you want to listen to us, if you're a Green Bubble user, if you're a Green Bubble, the Stitcher app is for you, for Android users, as far as I know. I don't use it, but I'm sure there are some of our listeners out there that do. So if you are on the Stitcher app, we appreciate you. Please continue to listen. Again, show us love on iTunes, wherever you consume your media, your podcasts. Please be sure to go there. Also, check us out on all of our social media handles on Twitter at ArmchairSCar, Instagram at ArmchairSCarolina, and, of course, ArmchairAmericans.com, localizing your sports coverage content. And, again, the podcast brought to you by the Armchair Americans. So, again, before I got into a complete brain blender, I'm your host, Chris Phillips. He's Thomas Floyd. We're back again for another week. And Thomas, I got to say, before we kind of get into everything, the first episode, with you on as the permanent co-host actually did pretty well. Yeah, I meant to tell you, we're almost at 300 listens through the first week. The show hadn't even been live a week yet, so we're doing pretty well. And honestly, the show was about really nothing, so that's a good thing.
I mean, dude, you brought me on. What did you expect? Again, like I said in another show, I am the greatest.
Yeah, Alex Reynolds had a blast with that, by the way.
Oh, so, he's gonna when he listens to this and hears me saying that, he's gonna.
We just need to bring him back on and just have that barrage going on.
We would go at each other so much about stuff.
Yeah, we need to have that happen again. See who has the bigger brain when it comes to recruiting.
It'd be close. I mean, me obviously, but he's a close second.
All right, so as we talked to you guys last week, this week's obviously going to start. We're going to have some brand new segments. A couple start this week. We may add a couple more as we go, down the road. And obviously, I think as we get into football season, we're going to be adding different things. But we got two new segments for you guys this week. First, to start off, one we're really, really excited about. This week in Tater News, for me, as me and Thomas were talking in pre-show, this week in Tater News, Dabo is in Cleveland. Yes, Dabo Swinney was in Cleveland to watch the Cleveland Cavaliers. I took a hilarious spin on it. If you did not see on our Armchair South Carolina Twitter account, basically I jacked the picture from that tweet and basically said that Dabo looked like he was checking his bank account and the new spring check had just went through, cashing a hella paycheck. So I don't know why Dabo's in Cleveland. I don't know if Dabo's a Cleveland Cavs fan. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me, but damn, the tweet was really funny. So that's what's going on my side. Thomas, what do you got as far as, what's happening in Taterland this week?
Not much is really happening. I know they played I think FSU recently got beat. I don't know if they did or not. I hate Clemson, so I hope they lost by 100. But here's my insider theory of the century. Once Nick Saban retires from the University of Alabama, Dabo Swinney will become the next head coach for the Crimson Tide. And I've seen this tweet a lot go around. Not really it go around, but every time I bring this up to a Clemson fan, they're like, there's no way he go to Alabama. We play Alabama national championship. It's not going to happen. Well, little do you know, insider theory, you heard it here first. Basically, the Colin Cowherd of podcast radio, Dabo Swinney to Alabama, 2K22.
Well, I don't know, Thomas. I think I'm going to have to disagree with you because I don't know if you've heard Dabo, but according to them, the University of South Carolina is in Clemson, and I'm sure he probably thinks the University of South Carolina is also in Alabama. I don't know if that theory even makes sense, but I don't think he knows where anything is anymore. So I don't know if I agree with you there. I think he's probably going to die on the field in orange and purple. I don't know. That's at least what I've been hearing. We'll see what happens. But
I would think that the only thing that would make him leave Clemson to me is either an NFL head coaching job comes around, which he has no experience. He would never last in the NFL because cheerleader coaches usually don't do anything unless you're Mike Tomlin, and he's one of the few exceptions.
Big time cheerleader coach.
Yeah.
Big time cheerleader coach.
I mean, that's all Sweeney is. Like, I don't care what anyone says. I think Venables and his offense coordinators that have come through are just like the real deal. And I think once Venables leaves and goes somewhere, once his son graduates, Clemson's defense is going to go down the drain because Venables is all what that defense is. But anyway, it's just amazing to me to see all the Clemson fans that just believe he's never going to go anywhere. Like, he's leaving eventually, whether or not you like it.
Yeah, no, we'll see. I love the take. I don't know. I've been the Twitter sphere again. This is something we're gonna be doing every week, just because the Twitter sphere is so damn funny, and we see so many absurd things throughout social media. And I feel like our listeners should have the chance to engage in that, because I think it's hard to keep up with it all. So we want to make sure that you're all in the loop. We're doing you all a favor, so you're welcome. Another one that we're going to be doing, overreaction of the week. Thomas, we'll start with you. Your overreaction of the week regarding the Gamecocks.
I'm going to say today, actually, with the guard that came in from Georgetown, Trey Campbell. Little you know, I think he actually is sponsored by Campbell Soup. Pretty sure that's a thing. But he averaged like 3 points throughout his career at Georgetown, and I'm willing to assume that's because he didn't play, even though I did read up that there was like a freak accident, and that's why the main reason he didn't play. But this year in the previous season. But I mean, Frank Booker did come from FA, Florida Atlantic. Am I right about that, Chris?
Yeah, he started at Oklahoma, I think, and then went to FAU, and then came to South Carolina.
Yeah, he averaged like 2 points at FAU. I mean,
all over the place.
I mean, unless he comes in like that and is just like a drop dead 3-point shooter, I don't think he's going to be that great. But I mean, anything's possible at this point. You never know with Frank Martin and what he brings in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and definitely, with them losing Raw Felder now, I mean, they got to bring somebody in. So
somebody's going to play point guard.
Somebody unfortunately has to play point guard, and unfortunately it might be a guy named Sonny
I hate Gravett. I wish Gravett.
Don't even say that name. Okay. Yeah. So my overreaction of the week, South Carolina took 2 of 3 from Ole Miss. My overreaction of the week is South Carolina might actually make some noise in Hoover, make a surprise run to Omaha. So there you go. South Carolina, Hoover has been a house of horrors for them in the past. I think with Mark Kingston, you never know, might find a way. The funniest stat I heard before the Ole Miss, I think it was, the first game of the Ole Miss series, is that South Carolina has the series record with Ole Miss has been like 36-23 in the regular season or something like they've dominated them since 2012. They've won like 7 of the last 8, and now I guess it would be like 9 of the last 11 or whatever. They've won. They've dominated them in the SEC tournament. They're 1-6 against them. That's just how bad South Carolina is in the SEC tournament. But my hot take, my overreaction: South Carolina is going to make some noise in Hoover, make a deep run, and be a scary team, make a run to Omaha. We'll see. Who knows? So that kind of leads us into what happened over the weekend. So Carolina takes 2 of 3 from Ole Miss, the 4th-ranked Rebels, 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever poll you're looking at. Ole Miss, a top 5 team. First thing I want to say is just shout out and we're laughing in the face of our friend John Gillian over at Armchair Ole Miss. He is a huge Rebel, obviously runs the Armchair Ole Miss account, covers the Rebels for Armchair Ole Miss. And I was actually on the College Baseball podcast last week, was talking to him about the series. He picked the Rebels to win 2 of 3, said South Carolina had no starting pitching. What he did not realize is when I picked Ole Miss to win 2 of 3, I was putting the good old reverse jinx on South Carolina, and it seemed to work because the Gamecocks absolutely dominated the Rebels the first 2 games. Had a chance to win the 3rd game, came down to the wire, came down to the 10th inning, and Madison Stokes somehow just could not put the bat on the baseball on 3 straight fastballs in the 10th. The bases loaded, but either way, South Carolina wins 2 of 3, almost sweeps the series. Thomas, I'm not sure if you had a chance to watch, but just overall, initial takeaways from beating the 4th-ranked team in the country, beating them 2 of 3, and what do you think this means, for the outlook of South Carolina's postseason chances?
Well, I mean, I went and watched the game Saturday, and I was actually the one who was giving John so much crap on Twitter. If you didn't already see it, it was hilarious. I think I made him actually poop his pants whenever he was on Twitter, but to me, Hill did a great job Saturday, pitched a really good game. They were putting the bat on the ball a lot. I don't think there were a lot of easy outs for Ole Miss, if that makes sense.
What was the final in that game? Do you remember?
10-6 maybe. They had a 5-run 8th inning or 4-run 8th inning where they.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
But other than that, I mean,
garbage runs, really.
Yeah, I mean, they just dominated Ole Miss. It really looked like South Carolina was the number 5 team, and Ole Miss was the one who wasn't ranked, or number 4, whatever they were.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, I was shocked the way South Carolina just beat the brakes off Ole Miss those first 2 games. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I hadn't had that feeling in a long time where it was just like after Saturday, South Carolina against a team that highly ranked already has a series, clinched. And it's like, of course, you definitely want to get the sweep. I mean, it sucks to not get the sweep, but going into Sunday when you've already got the series won is just such a good feeling. It's like Sunday is just all gravy at this point. But yeah, I mean, it was a huge, huge win because, I mean, I think that was definitely of the last 3 series when we looked at it last week, that was definitely the hardest one remaining. And South Carolina, does what they did. I mean, now you've got Missouri at home this weekend, which with all due respect to Missouri, I think South Carolina should win 2 of 3, if not sweep. And then you go on the road to Texas A&M, the last series of the weekend, to a team that, has been inconsistent all year. So South Carolina with a really, really good chance to finish the season winning, what would it be, 5 straight SEC series if they won?
I think so.
The next 2, they're in 3 right now.
It's either 4 or 5. I can't remember.
Yeah. So, I think they got a great chance. I mean, again, I know my overreaction of the week was a little overreaction, but kind of serious. I mean, I think South Carolina is kind of looking like a team right now, the way they're getting hot, that, you're not going to want to see them in your regionals a 2 or a 3, 2 or 3 seed. I mean,
if they get to like the 33 or 34 win mark, like that's a pretty good year. You can't complain about that.
Dude, I was trying to talk with John and Tyler King, who's our other college baseball podcast host and covers covers Texas for Armchair. But I mean, maybe too. I mean, do you think South Carolina may still have a chance at hosting a regional? I mean, because you look at some of the records of some of these teams they have projected. I mean, I know that the RPI plays in. Listen, I'm not a big RPI guy. I don't get into all that crap. But, I mean, it just seems like to me if South Carolina can finish out and win the rest of their SEC series and maybe win 2 or 3 games in Hoover, I mean, I don't see why South Carolina would not be a host.
I think they'd have to sweep probably one of these next series and not lose another midweek game, and they'd probably have to make a run in Hoover to get to where they would be hosting a series. In my opinion, just the way, because that shows at least that you're not just hot. You're actually showing that you're a really good baseball team.
You're like improved. You're not just hot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're a little bit of both, though. I mean, I definitely, like we talked last week, I think they're improved. They've gotten so many guys back that were injured, but I mean, of course, they've gotten hot at the right time. There's no question. And like I said, I think that's just a result of getting those guys back. So,
I mean, the Raptors got hot in the year, and then now they're at home like this by the Cavs. So,
God, the Raptors,
they're so bad.
Booking a guaranteed trip in May just to be ousted in 6 games by the Cavs every year.
That's so tough, though. I hate it for them, but it sucks to suck, I guess. But anyway, yeah, baseball, I don't know how it's going to be tough, but maybe it might be possible, honestly. Anything is possible.
Who are some of your big standouts of the weekend? Obviously, you were there on Saturday. I mean, I'll start with one, definitely. I mean, the guy that just continues to impress everybody is Carlos Cortez. I mean, the way he's swinging the bat, I mean, it's just unreal to see the turnaround he's had. And like I said, it's just so eerily similar to what he did last season. Who were some guys you kind of saw when you were there on Saturday, or were there any, performances that stood out to you that kind of went above and beyond everybody else?
I mean, I know Adam Hill pitched on Saturday. He was an absolute monster to me. He really killed it that game. I think he went maybe 6 innings, if I have that right. Either it was 6 or probably almost 6, if I had to guess. And I think about 5 strikeouts. You can't complain about that considering the way he's been kind of pitching more poorly lately. But to me, him having that game against Ole Miss, securing the series win, you take that every day of the week. It's a great day for him.
So that leads me into something, by the way. I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine. I want to get your take on it, Thomas. With Adam Hill, I really thought in the beginning of the season that he was kind of a guy where, hey, he's a junior. He's going to leave after the year. Especially when he had those back-to-back 14 Ks games, showed the stuff. Like I was like, he's definitely going to be a high draft pick. Give me your take on this. I don't think it's a guarantee anymore that he leaves. Like I actually don't think he should leave. I mean, I think there's been a lot. The way I look at it, there have been a lot more guys that were way more of a guarantee to be a top pick that came back, a la Casey Mize at Auburn, and then other guys at Florida. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got the stuff, and he's got the build. Like I'm sure he'd still be a pretty high draft pick. But like I mean, how do you feel about it? I think he's a guy that really, taking a look at his whole body of work, I think that honestly needs to come back and proves he can really truly be an ace from game 1 to the last game of the season. Because I think he's kind of struggled in that role this year a little bit.
I mean, I think he could definitely see. I think his like max pitch to me in the MLB would be like a number 3 probably guy if I had to guess with the way he pitches. But I think he needs another year in college, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, he would probably be able to go to the MLB faster if he stayed another year in college. But I just think he's going to have to improve a little bit more before he's considered like a really, really good prospect. Which he's a good prospect, but I think he needs another year under his belt, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, he's still good, but I mean, he hasn't been like that dominant force, no doubt top pick. Like I feel like he should be. And I mean, like I said, it's like, are you really just going to pitch one season in the Friday night role and not even do that well and then leave? I just feel like there's so much more on the table for him. And I mean, honestly, dude, like you get to play baseball at South Carolina. Like your life's great. It's like, why would you even want to leave early, to be honest, unless you're guaranteed you're going to be a first or second round pick and you become an instant millionaire. I just don't.
I mean, he's not Clark Schmidt to me, so he's not.
He's not on that level yet to me. I don't feel like. I don't know. Like he's still really good, but I mean, whenever Logan Chapman, a true freshman, comes in and basically takes over the Friday night role, it's like that to me says a lot. So
yeah,
I definitely think, I don't know. It's just been something I've been thinking about because that's obviously going to be coming up in June, the MLB draft. And I don't know. I don't know. I just kind of get the feeling. I think Adam Hill needs, like you said, I don't think it's a knock on him at all. I think from a professional level, I just think he needs another year of polish and experience. And I'm sure that's something they'll take a look at. So it'll be interesting to watch, kind of see what happens with that. Moving on to basketball, like we mentioned earlier, South Carolina did get a commitment today from Georgetown point guard and graduate transfer Trey Campbell, sponsored by Campbell Soup. Thomas, thoughts on the latest edition? Really the biggest question I have for you, obviously we haven't done a ton of research on the kid, but do you think that this, in what way, if at all, do you think this makes up for the Rakeem Felder loss, if at all?
I mean, it depends on his play, and we're not going to know for a couple months, but if he can come in and help sort of mold TJ Moss or maybe make Gravett a little bit better going into his senior year after this kid will leave, because this is Gravett's junior year, right? I'm pretty sure about that.
Right,
but
yeah.
If Gravett doesn't improve to the point that he can be a real starting point guard in the SEC, then there's just no hope by your junior year. But
dude, he's not going to. No,
he's so bad, dude. I remember. do you remember him? This might just be me, but I swear in the Final Four game, he tried to dunk on somebody and got his stuff sent in the stands. Like I might be wrong about that. I'm remembering it wrong, but it was.
I don't remember that, but I just know that, and this is a conversation for a whole other podcast, but. When I tell you what, what I've learned from doing Armchair is fans, they get so sensitive about players. We've talked about this before, I think. Yeah. But like if you even tag a player in a tweet that's slightly negative, like at Rakeem Felder isn't shooting very hot today. He's actually not got a good shot today. He shouldn't be shooting anymore.
He's not going to have a good shot for South Carolina anymore.
It's like it's just like people are like, I can't believe you tagged the kid, or I can't. It's kind of like when I did the last week. Tom Luganbill had his comments, and I want to circle back to this because we're about to talk about football. But Tom Luganbill had his comments about DeCarron Joyner should move to wide receiver. He could be like a Percy Harvin. I literally said, all I said was I quote tweeted and said, should at Can't Stop Cinco, which is DeCarron Joyner's Twitter handle. I said, should at DeCarron Joyner move to wide receiver or should he stay at quarterback? People were like, I can't believe you tagged the kid in this. Like, have some respect. It's like, dude,
you act like he's not on Twitter and he doesn't.
Yeah, it's like you act like he literally. I was like, he literally already tweeted about it separately from what I said.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I'm not saying he should do it. I'm just like, it's like, dude, if you don't want to get tagged on Twitter, don't have one because you're going to.
Well, yeah, that's a big thing. Like, my thing is, if the players who don't want to be active on Twitter aren't, like, Zach Pickens from Anderson has like 2K follow, is like 2,000 followers on Twitter. It's because he's just not that active. And there's players like Richard Gurriage who went to Florida and has 50K. He did this to me and Alex. He unfollowed and followed us like 100 times trying to get us to follow him back. And this was like when neither of us are even
recruit. You talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about with recruits, but like I just don't get sometimes people who get so salty over Twitter. Like it's literally an app on your
Twitter
phone.
is like a whole other recruit Twitter is a whole other thing, dude.
Yeah, that's
my God.
We could save an entire podcast to talk about how
there could be an entire podcast for recruit Twitter about kids. Like, why can't I get some retweets from my Vols fans? Let me get some retweets from my Cornhuskers. Let me get some who is the kid? Was it Dorian Gerald, the kid that went to Arkansas? Who was the D lineman that went to Arkansas? I don't know. There was one kid.
It is Dorian Gerald.
It was Dorian. Dude, he had every fan base retweeting his stuff.
Fans who tweet like where my Gamecocks at and stuff like that. Like I hate that kind of stuff.
One of my favorite parts of recruiting season or like getting closer to National Signing Day is getting to unfollow recruits I know aren't committed.
I just hate it.
It's like a national pastime. I cannot wait to unfollow you.
I've stopped following them on Twitter until they actually sign their NIL or NLI. Yeah, I just it's so old.
Absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, we'll move to football then because, like I said, there's definitely some football tidbits I want to get into. Gamecocks get a commitment today, 2020 offensive lineman commitment. Isaiah Walker. Tom is our recruiting guru, knows absolutely nothing about him. So great job on your part of knowing absolutely nothing about it. I'm just kidding because I don't know it. 2020 offensive lineman, folks. I don't really know what you want me to say, but I'm sure Tom will have a. I'm sure Tom feels so guilty right now having an article later in the week breaking down this kid's film because. No, I'm just kidding. I really don't know.
I can't break down film if there is no film to break down. Like I want to watch the kids' film, but I can't find it. So
is there really no film?
I tried to look up his huddle and I couldn't find it. Look over stuff, which is it's so embarrassing. But I don't know. He's not ranked on any websites that I've been on. So
he's 2020 though, right? So I
mean 24/7 has their top 300 or whatever on their website, and usually their composite is on there. But when he's not on the composite, that means literally no other website like Rivals or ESPN has rated him at all. And obviously, we Armchair All-Americans have not made a 2020 list yet. But
no, we have not. But you know what? I'll say this: it's always good to get commitments in the future. I guess it just shows that Muschamp, his staff are working hard, and you have to think that it's a good evaluation by Muschamp and staff. So
I've seen on some boards that that they offer the kid, but. It originally wasn't a committable offer, if that makes any sense. I don't know how to explain this, but but they wanted to see him in camp this summer. So my thing is why would you offer him a committable offer, but you want to see him in camp again to make sure you want him? I don't get that kind of stuff, but I mean, I'm just gonna trust much.
Bro, we could go down the rabbit hole of recruiting, college football recruiting, but I feel like there are so many guys that commit early and get lost in the shovel. Dude, what happened to what's his name? Ronald Holly Jameson, the wide receiver. He committed. I remember he was the first dude to commit to the 2018 class, and literally they were like, "Yeah, he's not even going to sign."
Yeah, some kids.
It's stuff like that. They almost change their mind on him because they get some guys they didn't think they were going to get. Oh, we don't have space.
That's who's the first guy in the 2019 class? I cannot think of his name to save my life, but he was a linebacker from Georgia, and Adarius Gee, that was his name.
Yeah.
They basically told him that they were just not going to let him sign.
I thought they were really pumped because we did a feature on him, an article on him.
Yeah, I did an interview with him, and we followed each other on Twitter. But he led the state of Georgia in tackles last year with over 200, but. Apparently, they just didn't like his. Apparently, sometimes when they think they can get a better guy, they'll just tell the other guy
Muschamp is a very big camp guy. I feel like
he's
very if you don't do good in camp.
Well, he said he offered Darius Rush and another guy just straight off of what he saw in camp, just because they played so well.
Which I don't know if I'm that fires me up or scares the hell out of me.
It scares me some, but obviously if they offered them, they know they've seen their film before and just wanted to make sure it was real in person, if that makes sense.
I think too as well, though, it's kind of if you can't do it on our field in a camp, you're not going to do it in front of 80,000 people. Not even.
That's true. It's not. Yeah, you're right.
If you can't handle the pressure of a camp, there's nobody in the stadium. How are you going to do it when it's South Carolina, Georgia, week 2? You're not. So, anyways, before I get, because, there are a couple of different things I want to talk about, some really interesting tidbits, I think, I want to get to you, Tom, as far as on Twitter. I want to go back to kind of what I brought up earlier. Tom Luganville bringing up last week that he thought I'm obviously paraphrasing. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. Basically, he said that he thinks right now Dakereon Joyner should switch from quarterback to wide receiver, obviously because of his deficiencies in the passing game and his ability to run. He said that he has characteristics and can be a Percy Harvin type player. Obviously, again, I'm paraphrasing, but he literally said like Percy Harvin. He could be a Percy Harvin type player. Do you think South Carolina should move Dakereon Joyner to wide receiver? Is it too early, or do you think Luganville's actually onto something?
I think he's sort of onto something. He's sort of not. You haven't seen Joyner play in a real game that matters, and that's when it's gonna hit you, and you're gonna know whether or not the kid can play. And until you give him that chance, and from probably at the end of the 2020 season, at the end of 2019 season, whenever Bentley's finally gonna be gone, and you realize next year you're gonna have a battle between Joyner and Helinski. I mean, you're not going to know. And if Joyner loses the fight and he still wants to be a quarterback, then he's going to have the opportunity to transfer out and play somewhere else, or he can make the decision to move to wide receiver. I think it's completely up to him. Whatever he does is his choice. And I just don't think that – I think it's too early to say, oh, he just can't play quarterback and Lindsey's going to be the next guy, because you don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting road. It's going to be a long road, though. I mean, I don't see any reason why Joyner would not get redshirted this year. I mean, he's not going to play, and if it does come down to he has to play, South Carolina's season is screwed anyways.
Yeah.
So, which, brings me something. I've been talking to a lot of Georgia fans, and obviously Dakereon Joyner is not Josh Fields, but the fact that Georgia fans are telling me that Justin Fields, not Josh Fields. Josh Fields is the pitcher that used to pitch for Georgia back in the day. No, Justin Fields, the number one rated quarterback or whatever that committed or signed with them and came. Yeah, he's at Georgia. Yeah. But anyways, Justin Fields. I've had conversations. It leads me to this. I've had conversations with Georgia fans, and for them basically telling me that they absolutely 100% do not want to redshirt him when they have Jake Fromm, kind of blows my mind for some reason that they want to play him that early. I mean, obviously, I'm not comparing Joyner to Justin Fields. Okay, but here's the thing.
Fields is like a 6'5" and probably just as fast as Joyner, and Joyner's 6'1" maybe.
Right. That's being like real courteous.
Yeah, he's maybe 6'1".
Well, anyways, overall, I mean, I don't know, dude. Just from getting a read on Dakereon Joyner, like this is just from social media. Like obviously, I haven't talked to the kid, but he always makes like the Lamar Jackson reference and like how people basically told Lamar Jackson he should be a wide receiver and stuff like. And it just sucks. Like, you don't want to be like, dude, you're not Lamar Jackson. Like, you're not going to win the Heisman.
He was a higher he was a higher rated recruit than Lamar Jackson too, which is weird.
Yeah, but. I mean, like you said, it's something I think you just got to kind of wait and see. I mean, it's way. I mean,
he could blow up in college and be like, he could be the next Lamar Jackson, but I just doubt it.
You can't go off of a spring game and just say he's never going to be able to throw the ball. But yeah, I definitely think there's going to be there. I think it'll work itself out where there's going to be like the writing on the wall where it's like, dude, either you're going to transfer and play quarterback somewhere else, or you're going to have to change positions or you're just going to sit the bench your entire career. So what do you want to do? Because I mean, like you said, I mean, I think Bentley, as opposed to what some people say, which we're going to get to in just a second, I think Bentley will come back his senior year.
Yeah, there's no chance unless he'd have to throw for like 40 touchdowns, like 5 interceptions.
Yeah, and then you have, Helinski is obviously a very highly touted quarterback that's going to be coming in, 2019?
Yeah, he'll be in winter. He'll probably be in this winter after the season's actually over.
So will he be in spring practice in 19?
He'll be in early. Wait, yeah, he'll be in early enrollee. Yeah.
Wow. See, that's crazy. So you're basically gonna have Bentley as a senior, Joyner as a redshirt freshman, and Helinski as a freshman.
I think Joyner's redshirt gets spurned probably.
You think Joyner's gonna play?
I think if they're gonna make goal line packages for him, I wouldn't be shocked.
Really? You think so? Damn.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
I mean, I guess why not? I mean, I guess why not?
Here's my
thing. Bro, I'll tell you this: if they don't redshirt him, I think it's even more incentive for him to play wide receiver because it's like, you've already burned a year and now you have less time to play.
I mean, my thing is like, Will Muschamp in his recruiting process, he's in a win now mode because he wants to compete now. He doesn't want to wait 3 years down the road. If Joyner can help him win, then why keep him off the field?
Right. No, you're right. I mean, that definitely makes sense. I mean, I could see them using him as like a little wildcat quarterback.
that, and the fact that if he can throw decently enough to actually be like,
and he can just have any kind of threat. Yeah,
you remember when like Farrah Cooper ran the wildcat sort of for us?
Dude, I remember when Stephon Gilmore ran the wildcat.
Yeah, it would be sort of similar to that, in my opinion. I don't know if he'd be. I think he'd probably be better than Farrah Cooper because he's probably faster. Because I never thought Farrah Cooper was that fast for some reason, but I think he could do it and it would work. But
bro, the real question to me is when is Jamias Williams going to get on offense?
I think he never plays offense. Honestly,
I don't think he does either because I think T-Rob and Muschamp are like in love with him.
T-Rob literally said if Brian McClendon gets Jamias Williams, then I get Shi Smith. Literally said,
yeah, dude, they're like that's like their diamond, bro. They're like, no, you're not touching. You're not putting him on offense
because Shi Smith is the fastest kill on the team. So
yeah, no, yeah, for sure. All right, cool. So there was a tweet this week from. I think every day should be Saturday. I think he's the one that asked it. Anyways, really, it kind of got my wheels turning a little bit. Basically asking fans what was the most painful loss as a Gamecock fan ever. I'm going to put a little twist on it. I don't want to ask the exact same thing, but I got to thinking this week, if you could change one play in Gamecock athletics history, like all of Gamecock athletics, if you could change one play, what would it be? And I thought about this long and hard, and I got to say, Tom, the one that I keep coming back to is the miracle catch in the 2013 Tennessee game where the Tennessee receiver came down and caught it one-handed, and Tennessee kicks the field goal and wins, and South Carolina is held out of the SEC championship. Because I really think South Carolina could have won it that year and actually been a player for the national title game.
Can I have one game I just changed in general?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, Steven Garcia throwing the Auburn game.
2011 or 2011, yeah.
Yeah, 2011. If I could change
there, dude, I was there. I was there.
That was so bad.
Dude, that was, I'm the biggest Steven Garcia fan. And we had him on our podcast. Friend of the show.
I love Garcia. Like, he's a great guy.
Everybody, that's our most listened to show. Like, I absolutely love Garcia. He's a legend. But I'll be honest, that was the game where I walked out of Williams-Brice Stadium. I looked at my best friend and I literally told him. It was almost like when you're in a bad relationship with a girl and you eventually come to that point where you just look yourself in the mirror and say, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I cannot do it emotionally anymore. I literally looked at my best friend and was like, I can't do it. I can't have his back anymore. Like there's nothing left for me to say that I can justify what is going on.
He was so hot and cold. But anyway, if I could change that game, I would. Because did we go 11-2 that year?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
we were nasty that year.
Yeah, that would change.
I've thought about it before, like the fact that South Carolina didn't win the SEC and the fact they only won one SEC East and never won the SEC and 10 out of 10, 11, 12, 13 is absurd.
The fact that we never won a national championship with the amount of NFL talent that was on those teams is insane. Because we literally had Melvin Ingram, Jadeveon Clowney, Stephon Gilmore, Marcus Lattimore, Connor Shaw / Steven Garcia.
Bro, there was a throwback Thursday to the 2014 NFL draft. It was like 8 dudes. I'm like, they were
so filthy. And what's the guy who went to Dallas and had a neck injury who played for Carolina?
Oh, was that Devontae Holloman?
He was a freak too. Like
gross. That 2012 team, out of all those teams, I don't know that
DJ Swearing.
It's tough to say which one was the best, but that 2012 team was. The one that beat the living shit out of Georgia.
Yeah,
35-7. That was a nasty team.
Who was the D tackle we had too that had like.
Kelsey Quarles.
Kelsey Quarles was a freak.
He was gross.
God, how do we not win
that? Nasty too, though, with Melvin Ingram.
Yeah, I don't know how.
And Kelsey Quarles.
How do we not win an SEC championship?
And then you had Mike Davis at running back, and Bruce. It was those teams were ridiculous.
Hold on. You just went in and out really bad for like 30 seconds.
Stuck down into all day. Something I saw on Twitter: Deebo Samuel overall pick in the 2019 NFL draft. Tom, your thoughts?
To me, I think it's way too high because he he's had what a 3-game stretch where he was absolutely great, and other than that, he's been hurt most of his career at South Carolina. I think if he can put together a full year,
hypothetically, if he can put a full healthy year, do you think that would be like unrealistic?
That would be unreal. I think he's a top 50 pick if he puts together a complete year. But number 3 is.
I think he could even be a top 15 pick, but third, that seems a little crazy to me. That's
third
with the injury history. That just.
Third to me is like either you're drafting a franchise quarterback, a franchise defensive end, or like an offensive lineman that you're.
Dude, whatever you're drafting a guarantee. And Deebo Samuel, even if he has one full healthy year, is he going to guaranteed be healthy for his career? It's like
I think he's a guy who falls in the 20s if he actually kills it next year. I think he's a guy who can get in the 20s. But that's about as high to me as I would draft him.
I talk with this about I talked to Barrett Sallee about this, and I asked him, I'm like, am I not crazy, but is me being scared of Deebo Samuel like being healthy for a full season, like do you think that's a justified feeling? He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Samuel's, obviously it's not his fault he's gotten hurt, but I mean he needs to be able to play a full season. So I mean that to me is going to be one of the biggest keys and question marks of Carolina's 2018 season is. I mean, can Deebo Samuel just stay on the field?
Yeah,
because he doesn't. If he can just be 80%, 90%, and just be on the field for South Carolina, I mean, just his presence alone is going to make them better. I mean, if he can be what he was, God, if he could be what he was last year, my God, I mean,
he was so like
people. I think even forgot how good he was. Like he was so ridiculous.
And the thing with. It's going to be even better is he's going to have a new offense coordinator and Warner's going to be helping Bentley out, which is automatically going to help Deebo. So he could have a really, really good year next year.
Yeah, no, I agree. Last thing, I want to wrap it up. Another football tidbit. We talked a little bit about this. Jake Bentley ranked the 14th best quarterback in the country. I forgot what service it was. I saw it on Twitter. Another one that in the same list. Tua Tagovailoa was ranked number 2. So make of that. You can spit it out. Realistically, Tom, where do you think Jake Bentley sits among SEC quarterbacks? I'll say for me personally, I think 14th overall in the country is pretty high.
Yeah,
in my opinion. What do you think?
Well, SEC, he's probably top 4, maybe. If I
got Drew Lock. Drew Lock's definitely up there.
I'd give Nick Fitzgerald over him.
How about Tua?
I wouldn't take Tua because again, like you said, he's played a freaking half a game. But
right. Florida's quarterback's trash. Tennessee's quarterback's trash.
I'll take
Fromm
over him probably.
Okay, that's so. What are you looking at? Drew Lock.
He's number 4. I would say number 4. Just because last year was just so bad.
That's about where he was last year, like 4th in passing yards.
Probably 4th.
As bad as he was in some games last year, he still was 4th in passing.
Yeah, like imagine if he actually puts together like a 66, 67 completion percentage year.
If he just hits the dudes that were open last year.
Yeah, he's so hot and cold, but like
that should be. We need to find out. Like, if you want to do some real research, we need to have a stat that's like Jake Bentley's completion percentage, passing yards, passing touchdowns, and then have it next to it with an asterisk. Jake Bentley's completion percentage, passing yards, and touchdowns. If he just hit everybody that was open that he missed, just the guys that were just wide open. I mean, you're looking at adding probably like 1,000 yards.
There were so many times it seemed like he just missed Hayden Hurst, or like how do you overthrow Hayden Hurst?
I mean, you're thinking Missouri, that first drive where he has him on the wheel route down the right side and just flat out overthrows him.
Well, against Clemson, he had him open by 5 yards in the first drive and missed it.
That could have just set the whole tone of that game too. Yeah,
him throwing that pick six, the third drive into the game, killed it. I knew it was over then.
Oh yeah, I mean for sure. It just the whole tone of that game, you could just feel it. And, obviously with Kurt Roper calling plays, it wasn't.
We had a whole
lot of odd to miss him.
But as far as 14th best quarterback in the country, I just know he's top 25, if that, to me. And he's going to have a really good year next year to break the top 15 probably.
Dude, and like I said, I told somebody today, I mean, I just don't see any world where – I mean, I think Jake Bentley would have to literally win the national championship to leave early, and that's 99.9% chance that ain't happening this year.
Okay.
It's like, why would he leave? His dad's a quarterback coach. You know, you're the star quarterback at South Carolina. His, you know, not to be a stalker, but his girlfriend is on the volleyball team. Like, his girlfriend's at Carolina. It's like, you know, it's not like he's one of these guys where it's like, you know, I'm doing this for my family and I got to go get this money. Like, bro, he's set. He's set, dude.
I mean,
he's absolutely set.
Okay, so Danny Etling from LSU got drafted in this year's draft. So literally anything's possible because he's garbage.
Anything is possible.
Anything's possible. But yeah,
I mean that is hilarious. I mean, bro, I almost forgot Danny Etling even played football, and he got drafted in the NFL draft
to the Patriots of all people. So
that's insane.
I always hope that
the Pats. You know what? A guy like Danny Etling would be just so nasty.
I'm sure he's going to end up being like a Tom Brady 2.0, but
Danny Etling, like what in the world?
So if he can get drafted, I give Billy a 5th round grade if he can get in the 7th round.
What round did he go? He's 7th round?
Like early 7th round.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just don't see any upside to Jake Bentley for his personal gain. Like, I just don't see what the upside would be for leaving.
Plus, if he loses to Clemson again, you better not.
Dude, yeah. What are you going to do? Leave 0-3 against Clemson? Like, really?
Like, literally, Taj Boyd.
No, you know, like the season, like I said, like if you don't win the SEC East, if you don't get, you know, win the SEC, you're going to leave with just nothing. You're just, I mean, because at that point, like Jake Bentley, what's your legacy? You were just a guy that was okay.
He was an average quarterback.
You're just You're just a very average quarterback. I mean, really, when you think about it, I mean, you're Blake Mitchell.
It's nothing to.
You are Blake Mitchell.
Blake Mitchell beat Ohio State.
And Blake Mitchell beat Clemson.
Yeah, so he's literally like not as good as Blake Mitchell, and that's pretty. Not. It's like he's literally like a below average quarterback.
We've gone down this rabbit hole. Jake Bentley versus Blake Mitchell. But like I'm just trying to think, like when you think about like the past quarterbacks, comparing them, like, you know, what he's done. It's like Connor Shaw did way more. Steven Garcia did way more.
Yeah.
And then who was before Steven Garcia? I mean, what, Chris Smelly?
Close. He's better than Smelly. I'll give him
Tommy
that.
Victor? Connor Mitch? Or no, Perry Orth. I'm forgetting our buddy Perry.
He's better than the
Perry
last.
Orth?
Okay, he's not as good. He's between like Orth and McElwain.
I'm not saying like he's not better than them. I'm saying like as far as like what you've accomplished, like the things you can check off on the, you know, Garcia undefeated against Clemson, Connor Shaw undefeated against Clemson. I mean, even guys like, again, Blake Mitchell, he beat Clemson. He won a bowl game. I mean,
it's so tough.
He falls in that category of guys literally like Chris Smelly, like Perry Orth. I mean, God, you know, again, respect to Perry Orth. And
yeah, like it wasn't Perry Orth's fault that his team record was that.
Were there and played okay, and you played good enough to win a couple games and maybe go to some bowl games, but it's like, what did you really do? You know what I mean?
It's just not much. I just can't see 14. I saw a mock draft with him going like 19th overall, and I'm like, you're smoking crack.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, dude, I just want to say I'm not like trying to bash on Jake Bentley.
No,
I've been like one of the first ones last year to defend him, but I mean, I just think that would be if I was Will Muschamp trying to talk him to come back, like, bro, what do you want your legacy to be? Yeah. Like, what do you want your legacy to be at Carolina? Because
he just has there's literally no point in him leaving at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you know what, to be fair, I'm not going to lie to you. I was a big-time backer of Blake Mitchell. I'm not going to lie.
Jesus.
I really did. I remember fighting with people in like middle school, being like, Blake Mitchell's a good quarterback. His offensive line is just terrible.
Story of my life.
I mean, his O-line was bad.
I mean, I'll
just never forget the game against 2006 against Florida that Jarvis Moss blocked the field goal. But that was probably the best game Blake Mitchell's ever played. That was an absurd game. Here's
the thing. Jake Bentley is not nearly as terrible as Lorenzo Nunez, and that's all that matters.
Oh, my God.
I hated that kid so much.
Dude, hot take of the century, Brandon McElwain was terrible as well. I think he was bad.
Is he even on a college roster anymore?
Now, yeah, he had to sit out a year. He is now he was last year, but he is now active with the Cal Golden Bears. He will have a chance to play this fall. So
I bet.
And he might be playing baseball right now.
I'll give you $20. He never touches the field at Cal on the football field.
I don't know.
We overrated on that one. I'll give it to us.
Dude, I eviscerated Brandon McElwain when he transferred. I thought he should have stayed. I thought he could have won the quarterback job from Jake Bentley, but
he was really bad.
I just hated that because like there was so much hype. Dude, he was like donned as like the dude. I mean, he was gonna be like the savior.
He was supposed to be.
I mean, I think he could have been really good. There was so much thrown on him early, which isn't his fault. But I mean,
yeah, that team was bad too. Muschamp got a lot out of that team to win 6 games.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I mean, the only reason Jake Bentley did so well is because he was just an absolute gunslinger and just had no fear. I mean. He
basically just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, Lorenzo Nunez, boy, that was
that year with him and Perry Orth going back for the quarterback battle was so bad.
That was the 3-9-15, right?
Yeah, that
was ugly.
Lost to the Citadel. That's probably the worst loss in history, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember being at the 2015 because I was obviously there at the 2015 season, and I was at the Citadel game too. Not fun, but I remember being at the UCF game earlier that year. I don't know if you really remember that game at all, but Nunez, that was like the first one he started.
Didn't they win?
They won.
They won, but UCF went defeated that year, I'm pretty sure.
But that was literally the game where Spurrier, they asked him later, he's like, that's when I knew it was over. And I remember that game. People obviously were leaving early. South Carolina was up by like 14 or 21 in the fourth quarter. I looked at my buddy next to me. I was like, bro, I don't know why people are leaving because this might be the last home game we win all year. And sure enough, I think it was.
Yeah, it probably was. They're so terrible.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I'm just glad that 3. I remember. I mean, dude, the only times I felt so low, Citadel, I felt low. But you know what? Honestly, one of the other times I felt so low was 2014 Tennessee, when Tennessee came all the way. Well, they were ahead. South Carolina had 21 in the fourth quarter and lost. And I literally remember after that game, looking at my buddy, I was like, I'm so ready for football season to be over. There were like 3 more games left.
Oh, so bad.
I was like, I just want this season to be over. I don't even care anymore.
Just not a bad day for us. Not a good day. I mean, it was just full.
No. All right. Well, we could loathe and self-pity all night, but we're going to wrap this one up. Again, be sure to check us out, armchairamericans.com. The show brought to you by the Armchair Americans, localizing your sports coverage content. Be sure to check out the podcast, all of our latest breaking Gamecock news and coverage on armchairamericans.com. Obviously on iTunes, the Stitcher app. We are the best Gamecocks podcast online. If you're not subscribed to us, I don't know what you're doing. You're missing out. Be sure to check us out. Again, iTunes, the Stitcher app, where you can find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram. You know where to find us. So, again, for Tom Floyd, I'm Chris Phillips. Thomas, you got any last words?
Go Cox.
Go Cox. All right, good. We will catch you guys next week. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you soon.